Body responds to the stress of lying before your conscious mind even registers it. Long before you've formed the words of a deception, your nervous system activates, triggering a cascade of subtle physical responses. These responses emerge from deep evolutionary programming, the body preparing for potential threat when engaged in risky social behavior. This physiological reaction creates changes in movement, posture, and tension that remain largely outside conscious control, making body language one of the most revealing aspects of deception detection. Body language serves as a window into our emotional and cognitive states. Think of your body as a continuous broadcaster of your internal experience. When you feel confident, your posture naturally opens up, shoulders back, head high, movements fluid and purposeful. When anxious, your body contracts, shoulders hunched, movements restricted, tension visible in your muscles. These physical expressions occur automatically, reflecting emotional states without conscious direction. Like a car's dashboard warning lights that illuminate before engine damage occurs, your body signals internal states before you consciously process them. This automatic physical expression creates a challenge for someone attempting deception. While a practiced liar might carefully control their words, controlling all aspects of body language simultaneously requires extraordinary effort. The cognitive load of maintaining a false narrative creates physical tension that manifests in observable ways. However, no single body movement definitively proves someone is lying. The key lies in clusters of changes from someone's baseline behavior that occur specifically when discussing sensitive topics. Different parts of the body reveal different aspects of the internal experience of deception. The legs and feet, furthest from the brain and least consciously monitored, often provide the most honest signals. When someone feels uncomfortable, their feet frequently point toward exits or away from the person they're speaking with. You might notice increased leg movement, bouncing feet, tapping toes, or legs wrapped around chair legs in a self-restraining position. These movements reflect the body's instinctive desire to flee from a threatening situation. The hands reveal different aspects of internal state, particularly the degree of restraint someone is exercising. During deception, people often display significantly decreased hand movement. They might hold their hands still in their lap, tuck them under their legs, or keep them in pockets, positions that restrict the natural gesturing that typically accompanies truthful speech. When gestures do appear, they might seem mechanical or disconnected from speech content, occurring slightly after the related words, rather than simultaneously, as in truthful communication. The torso communicates comfort level and openness. Under deception stress, people often display increased rigidity in their upper body. They might lean away from the questioner, cross arms in a protective posture, or turn their torso slightly away while keeping their face oriented toward the conversation. These positions create physical barriers, reflecting the psychological distancing occurring as they separate themselves from their deceptive statements. Self-adapters, movements where a person touches or adjusts their own body or clothing, serve as unconscious self-comfort mechanisms that help regulate anxiety. Watch for increased face touching, neck rubbing, ear tugging, hair adjusting, or clothing manipulation during deceptive statements compared to someone's baseline behavior. The direction and orientation of feet provide surprising insight into someone's genuine desires. When genuinely engaged in a conversation, people typically point their feet toward their conversation partner. When uncomfortable, the feet often shift toward available exits while the upper body remains engaged. This incongruence reflects the conflict between social requirements and internal desire, a conflict particularly common during deception. Perhaps the most revealing signs appear when verbal statements contradict physical movements, what experts call incongruence. A person might verbally express certainty while their body shows doubt through a slight head shake. They might deny anger while displaying tension in their jaw and shoulders. These disconnects result from the difficulty of controlling both verbal and nonverbal channels simultaneously. Several common misconceptions require correction. Crossed arms don't automatically indicate deception. Someone might simply be cold or comfortable in that position. Eye contact patterns vary significantly across cultures, personalities, and neurodevelopmental conditions. Fidgeting can indicate anxiety, but also boredom or excess energy. These behaviors only become meaningful when they deviate from someone's normal patterns during sensitive topics. Learning to observe these subtle physical shifts gives you access to unspoken communication beneath conscious awareness. You receive information from two channels simultaneously, the controlled verbal channel, and the more automatic nonverbal channel. When these channels align, coherence suggests truth-telling. When they diverge, the contradiction warrants further exploration. While the body reveals deception through patterns of movement and tension, the face holds special significance as our direct emotional display system. As we'll explore next, our facial expressions connect most directly to our emotional centers, making the face particularly vulnerable to revealing hidden emotions through microexpressions. Sign number 4. The frozen face and microexpressions. The human face contains 43 muscles specifically designed to express emotion. These muscles work together to create thousands of different expressions, from obvious displays like broad smiles to the subtlest narrowing of the eyes. Your face functions as an emotional billboard, continuously broadcasting your internal state to those around you. When someone lies, these facial muscles often betray what their words attempt to conceal, creating a disconnect between what they say and what their face reveals. This disconnect emerges from a fascinating phenomenon known as microexpressions. These brief, involuntary facial expressions reveal genuine emotions that flash across the face in just 1/25th of a second, too quick for conscious control to suppress. Microexpressions occur when someone attempts to conceal their true emotional reaction. Think about receiving a gift you dislike, but wanting to appear grateful. For a fraction of a second, your genuine disappointment might appear before you manufacture a pleased expression. This momentary emotional leakage happens because emotional responses activate faster than conscious control mechanisms. When engaged in significant deception, many people attempt to control their facial expressions, creating an unnaturally stiff facial appearance known as the frozen face. The face loses its normal animation and flow, appearing mask-like or rigid. This frozen quality emerges because the person diverts cognitive resources to controlling facial muscles that normally move automatically, resulting in a face that appears oddly immobile compared to normal animated expression. This rigid control often alternates with emotional leakage through microexpressions. Research has identified 7 universal microexpressions recognized across cultures. Anger, lowered brows, tightened eyelids, narrowed lips. Fear, raised upper eyelids, tensed lower eyelids, horizontally stretched lips. Sadness, drooping upper eyelids, slightly pulled down lip corners. Disgust, wrinkled nose, raised upper lip, slightly raised cheeks. Contempt, distinctive one-sided mouth raise, the only asymmetrical expression. Surprise, raised eyebrows, widened eyes, opened mouth. Happiness, raised cheek muscles, and crow's feet wrinkles beside the eyes. We saw this phenomenon dramatically during a presidential press conference when a politician was asked about allegations against him. While verbally expressing outrage, a brief flash of fear crossed his face. Eyebrows raised, eyes widened, revealing his underlying anxiety before he reasserted his practiced expression of indignation. Viewers who caught this momentary lapse gained insight into his emotional state that his words attempted to conceal. True happiness engages muscles around the eyes that voluntary smiles typically cannot activate, a distinction known as the Duchenne marker. When facial expressions don't match someone's words, we observe incongruent expressions. Someone might verbally express sadness while their face shows relief. These mismatches occur because controlling both channels simultaneously requires significant cognitive effort. Microexpressions hold particular value in deception detection because they're extremely difficult to fake or suppress. While accomplished liars can control their words and some aspects of body language, the neural pathways between emotional experience and facial expression operate largely automatically, making them highly resistant to conscious control. You can improve your ability to spot these fleeting expressions through practice. Study the 7 universal expressions until you can instantly recognize each one. Practice with training tools that show expressions at gradually increasing speeds. Watch emotional situations with sound muted, interviews, reality shows, or political debates to focus entirely on facial movements. When practicing in real conversations, initially concentrate on one facial region at a time. Pay attention to asymmetry, which often indicates mixed emotional states or suppression attempts. Notice expression timing relative to speech content. Genuine expressions typically begin slightly before related verbal statements, while manufactured ones often appear after. Context remains crucial when interpreting facial expressions. A microexpression of fear might indicate deception, but could also reflect concern about being falsely accused or anxiety about the conversation topic itself. These expressions reveal genuine emotion, but determining what triggered that emotion requires consideration of the full situation. By training yourself to notice these split-second emotional leakages, you gain insight into concealed emotions most people miss entirely. When a microexpression contradicts someone's stated position, it signals an area for further gentle exploration rather than immediate conclusions. The face reveals a complex emotional story, but represents just one component of understanding potential deception. Beyond facial expressions, people engage in specific self-soothing behaviors when experiencing the stress of lying. These pacifying movements create another observable pattern that we'll explore next as we continue uncovering the physical signals of deception. Sign number 5, self-soothing behaviors. When the mind experiences the stress of deception, the body instinctively seeks comfort through subtle movements that reveal what words attempt to conceal. These self-soothing behaviors emerge from our most basic neurological wiring. Think about how you might rub your neck when tense, or play with your hair during an uncomfortable conversation. These actions aren't random fidgeting. They serve a specific biological purpose. When we experience stress or anxiety, our nervous system activates, creating physical discomfort. Our bodies then naturally respond with behaviors designed to reduce this discomfort and restore a sense of calm. This stress-response connection explains why self-soothing behaviors increase during deception. Lying creates a particular type of stress combining cognitive strain, fear of detection, and often guilt or anxiety about the deception itself. As these emotional pressures build, the body automatically seeks relief through physical actions that stimulate nerve endings connected to our parasympathetic nervous system, the system responsible for calming us down after stress. The person lying rarely notices these behaviors, making them especially valuable as indicators of internal conflict. These comfort-seeking actions manifest in several common forms. Face touching represents a frequent self-soothing behavior. Hands repeatedly moving to rub eyes, touch lips, stroke cheeks, or cover parts of the face. These movements stimulate sensitive facial nerve endings, triggering calming neurotransmitter release. Similarly, throat clearing and swallowing increase during deception as stress activates our sympathetic nervous system, reducing saliva production and creating dry mouth. The throat's laryngeal muscles, used in speech production, accumulate tension during anxiety, prompting clearing behaviors for relief. Neck rubbing serves as another common mechanism, as this area contains numerous nerve endings and pressure points that, when stimulated, help reduce stress responses. The neck also houses major blood vessels supplying the brain, and touching this area can unconsciously attempt to slow heart rate and calm physical stress responses. Hair adjusting and object manipulation provide additional avenues for stress relief. Running fingers through hair or twirling it stimulates sensitive scalp nerve endings, creating a pleasant sensory distraction. Meanwhile, behaviors like spinning a ring, clicking a pen, or rearranging items channel nervous energy, while providing tactile stimulation that helps regulate emotional states. The repetitive nature of these actions creates a focusing mechanism that helps maintain composure during the cognitive strain of constructing deception. The distinction between normal fidgeting and stress-related self-soothing lies in patterns of timing, clustering, and intensity. Consider this example. During a workplace interview, Mark discusses his daily responsibilities with occasional adjustments to his glasses. When asked about missing inventory from his department, his behavior transforms dramatically. He touches his face repeatedly, clears his throat multiple times, rubs his neck, and continuously fidgets with his wedding ring, all while explaining he has no knowledge of the situation. This sudden clustering of self-soothing behaviors, specifically during discussion of the missing inventory, reflects the heightened stress associated with that particular topic. These behaviors must always be evaluated against someone's baseline patterns. Some people naturally touch their face frequently, while others rarely do so. The key indicator isn't the presence of these behaviors, but their increased frequency during specific topics compared to the person's normal mannerisms. Someone who constantly plays with their hair isn't necessarily lying when they continue this behavior during questioning. The significance emerges when these behaviors intensify in response to particular discussion points. Context matters significantly. Similar self-soothing behaviors might appear during discussions of emotional topics or uncomfortable subjects regardless of truthfulness. A person describing a traumatic event truthfully might display extensive self-soothing due to the emotional stress of recalling difficult experiences. Someone discussing a deeply personal matter might show increased comfort-seeking actions due to embarrassment rather than deception. These behaviors indicate emotional or cognitive stress, not necessarily dishonesty. Recognizing these subtle comfort-seeking behaviors reveals when someone experiences internal conflict, regardless of its specific cause. You're observing their automatic physiological response to stress, a response occurring largely outside conscious control. When you notice these self-soothing patterns emerging during specific conversational topics, you've identified areas where the person experiences heightened stress, warranting gentle exploration of why those particular subjects trigger such a response. While physical behaviors provide visible evidence of internal states through these self-soothing patterns, the voice carries equally powerful indicators of emotional truth. The voice connects directly to our emotional centers through neurological pathways that remain largely outside conscious control. This connection creates vocal changes during deception that, once you learn to recognize them, reveal emotional states that words alone attempt to conceal. Sign number 6, vocal changes. The voice carries emotional information that words alone cannot conceal. While someone might carefully control their vocabulary and phrasing when lying, the vocal qualities that deliver those words often reveal the emotional truth beneath the deception. Your voice connects directly to your emotional state through the autonomic nervous system, the same system that controls your heart rate, breathing, and other functions largely outside conscious control. This physiological connection makes vocal indicators some of the most reliable signs of potential deception. When you experience strong emotions, your autonomic nervous system activates, creating measurable changes in your vocal production. Muscles in your throat tighten or relax, breathing patterns shift, and vocal cord tension changes, all affecting how your voice sounds. These changes occur through neural pathways that operate separately from the brain regions controlling language and conscious speech content. While you can deliberately choose your words, the vocal qualities emerge from deeper brain structures tied to emotional processing. This separation between conscious content and automatic vocal production explains why vocal changes during deception provide valuable information. Even accomplished liars who maintain perfect verbal control often experience involuntary shifts in vocal qualities when engaged in significant deception. The cognitive load of constructing a false narrative combined with anxiety about detection creates stress that manifests in the voice despite attempts to appear calm. Research has identified several specific vocal indicators that frequently accompany deception. Pitch elevation ranks among the most common, occurring in approximately 70% of people when experiencing the stress associated with lying. This change happens because stress increases tension in the vocal cords, causing them to vibrate at a higher frequency. The pitch shift might be subtle, detectable when compared to someone's baseline speaking voice. In some cases, the elevation appears specifically when the person delivers the most deceptive content. Consider a job interview where a candidate maintains steady vocal qualities while describing genuine accomplishments, but experiences a subtle pitch increase when claiming expertise they don't possess. Most interviewers miss this shift, focusing solely on the impressive words rather than how they're delivered. Changes in speaking rate provide another reliable indicator. Some people speak noticeably faster when lying, rushing through deceptive content. Others speak more slowly, carefully measuring each word. Both patterns reflect increased cognitive processing as the person monitors their fabrication. The deviation from normal speech rate when discussing potentially deceptive content is key, and often normalizes immediately when the conversation shifts to neutral topics. Volume fluctuations frequently accompany deception as well. Many people speak more softly when lying, a pattern stemming from psychological distancing from their own statements. Others may suddenly speak louder, overcompensating to sound more confident. The significance lies in the change from baseline volume rather than absolute loudness. Different emotional states affect these vocal qualities in predictable ways. Anger and fear typically raise pitch, increase volume, and accelerate speaking rate. Sadness generally lowers pitch, decreases volume, and slows speaking rate. Anxiety often produces a quavering tone with inconsistent volume control. Understanding these emotional vocal signatures helps identify what someone might be feeling regardless of their words. Breath control issues during lying create additional audible changes. The stress response often alters breathing, making it shallower and less regular. This creates audible intake of breath between sentences, voice breaks where someone runs out of air mid-sentence, or unnatural pausing as they struggle to maintain regular breathing while managing deception. It's essential to understand that elevated pitch indicates emotional arousal, not necessarily deception. This could result from anxiety about being questioned, concern about being disbelieved while telling the truth, or nervousness about speaking. The key lies in determining which specific topics trigger these vocal shifts and considering the full context. In professional settings, when someone describes projection numbers they believe in, their voice typically remains steady. When presenting inflated figures, subtle vocal strain often appears. Similar patterns emerge in personal relationships. A truthful explanation sounds vocally consistent, while a fabricated excuse contains detectable vocal stress during the deceptive elements. With surprisingly little practice, you can develop the ability to hear these subtle vocal shifts. Many people find they can start detecting these patterns after just a few hours of focused attention. In the next section, I'll show you exactly how to train your ear to catch these vocal tells that most people miss entirely. By tuning your ear to these subtle vocal shifts, you detect emotional states that someone may be trying to conceal. You're essentially hearing two messages simultaneously: the literal content and the emotional subtext revealed through vocal qualities. When these channels diverge, the contradiction provides valuable insight. Sign number 7, potential deception, defensive language, or emotional conflict. The words we choose reveal our relationship to the truth in ways far more precise than most people realize.